Starfield is just around the corner and we're getting very close to finally being able to play this game. If you're like many in the community, you've already started to plan out exactly what you want to do first. But before you do anything, you will need to go through the introduction. And with everything that has been revealed so far, we've been able to piece together what exactly happens right at the beginning. And in this video, we're going to go through everything. But before we do that, we need to give some background. Because Starfield is not just a space game, there's also a lot of lore backing it. And even though you don't need to know every single instance of what's happened within the Starfield history, you do need to know one important thing. The game itself is set within 2330, but just 20 years before this, in the year 2310, a massive event took place. This was the Colony War, and it included two of the largest factions within the game. United Colonies and the Freestar Collective. Not much in itself is known of what happened, except that it was an extremely bloody and brutal war. But this will tie into the story and we will talk a bit about this again later. But in 2330 in itself, you will be part of what is known as the Constellation. The Constellation is a small group of space explorers. They are made up of Sarah Morgan, Barrett, Mateo, Noel, Samko, Walter, Vlad, and the robot Vasco. This group of space explorers are there to uncover the mysteries of the universe. One of those mysteries and the key talking point for Starfield when it comes to its narrative is what is known as the artifact. The artifact has been shown in many gameplay reveals, Starfield Direct, teaser trailers, you name it. It's everywhere. And it has a power which is unknown to man. And this is what takes us into the very beginning of Starfield, because you start out with this cutscene. A cutscene as well as potentially a bit of gameplay where you do not see your character's face, but you ultimately touch one of these artifacts, or at least this material, which will knock you unconscious. Once you come back around, there are two other NPCs talking to you, and this is where it goes into the character creation menu. This is where you'll customize your character. You'll be able to select one of 45 different presets, and if you wish to do so, you can just select it and move on. Go through this character customization as quickly as possible and get straight into gameplay. But if you want to take this a step further, you can. You can take that preset as a base foundation, and then you can go through and customize absolutely everything. With the body itself, there are three key areas, being muscular, heavy, and thin. The grid allows you to shape how you want your character to look. The real detail comes down to your face. Here is where you can adjust your skin tone, your head shape, hair color, facial hair color, eyes, eye color, teeth, jaw, chin, neck, nose, ears, cheeks, mouth, jewelry color, and any other blemishes, scars, and can even include tattoos. With everything that we have spoken about, there's also further changes that you could make to these. It isn't just a case of going through and just scrolling through the different presets. These are adjustable. For example, with your head shape, yes, you can go through and see what's already on offer, but you're also able to go and use a grid to make your head thinner, rounder, more square. Really do whatever it is that you want to do. There's also a similar thing with the lips, where you can go through and adjust very slight shapes so that you can get your character pretty much being pixel perfect. But the real impact out of all of this, even though you could probably spend hours customizing your character, how your character looks doesn't really matter because there's no gameplay changes to it. However, there is two other sections. This is your backgrounds and your traits. Your background is simply whatever you did before. It's exactly what it says it does. But what background you select here will give you different types of skills, which will unlock more content. And similarly, we also have traits. With traits, they are entirely optional, so you could actually go through without selecting any. But if you did want to apply them, you can apply up to 3. What you need to know about traits is that yes, it will potentially unlock more content or even give you a boost in certain areas, but there's also a negative side effect. And it's whether or not you want to deal with the negative side of also having the benefit that comes with it. And that is when you finally get into gameplay. What actually happens within game, we're not 100% sure, although we do know a few key facts. Firstly, we know that we're going to be able to visit our very own solar system, and we're going to do this very early on within game, likely within the first hour or so. Within the Starfields lore, our solar system is still there, hence why we're going there to visit, but Earth is no longer as we know it. What actually happened to Earth? This is a mystery that you will find out within game, but we do know because developers have told us that you will need to visit our solar system, which within the Starfield lore is called the Old Neighborhood, and you will need to go and visit Mars. In the Starfield universe, Mars is a home to the mining colony of Cydonia. So it's likely that you'll need to visit Cydonia, and there is where you'll get some information about what potentially happened to Earth to kickstart that mystery, plus also you'll get the information which ultimately starts the story. We also know that you'll need to go to the planet Jemison, which is located within Alpha Centauri, and the reason for this is because there is the largest city within game, which is known as New Atlantis. New Atlantis is the capital city of the United Colonies, but also you'll find the headquarters of the Constellation. The Constellation is what we talked about earlier, which is that small group of space explorers. You will be joining them. In which order you do this, whether or not you go to Mars first or New Atlantis, we're not sure. But regardless of which one it tells you to go through first, it also makes sense that this is where you'll also learn about your ship and how to control the grav drive and absolutely everything else that comes with it, considering that both are in completely different systems. Now what happens here, no one really knows. It's difficult to say exactly what happens within a story because it's not really a single set story for everyone. There are so many variables at play. This is a role-playing game. Your choices will have an impact, which means the story that you get will be completely different to the story that I get based on the choices that we make. But one thing is for sure, alongside your journey there will be many mysteries. Mysteries about the artifact which you will need to solve, which does seem to be the overarching narrative to the game, although there may be some differences based on the choices that we just mentioned. We also know that you'll find more about what happened within the Starfield lore. For example, we know that there will be information about the colony war that happened within 2310. As you progress through your journey, you'll get more information on this. And we can't forget the big mystery right now is what actually happened to Earth. And this is ultimately your role within the Constellation. You will explore all the systems, the universe, every single planet, as there are over 1,000 planets, and you will gather as much information and data as possible for you to uncover the mysteries, to learn more about what each planet has to offer, finding various artifacts, various collectibles, scanning animals, scanning plants, building outposts so that you can explore even more. This in itself is the core foundation of Starfield. What happens next really is up to you. Who you align yourself with, how you build your ships, how you build your character, how you build your outpost. Or maybe you don't want to do any of those things and you just want to push through this story as quickly as possible, which will take you anywhere between 30 to 40 hours. That is if you're going to be going from main story mission to main story mission, not really worrying about anything else. Although it's likely that you will get distracted. That's from Bethesda's words, not mine. They said there's so many unique side quests, so many unique dynamic events. The way that they've built this world and the way that they've built each and every single planet, you will get distracted. You will want to navigate away from the main story to explore various other areas, and that will give you even more content to find. And if you were to do that, this game could very easily be longer than 100 hours long. But we're unable to give information on that as of right now because, well, Starfield still hasn't released. Although once it does release, we will be exploring absolutely everything. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. If you enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend clicking our next video. Our next video goes through 48 details that you most likely missed. So click that video and we'll be over there to share absolutely everything.